Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. I thought we would go live. I'm gonna post this in a couple different places and we will dive into the markets. All right, my friends. Well, we've been warning you for months, right? What have we said? Alts are going down against the US dollar. Alts are likely going down against Bitcoin month after month. That's what's happening, right? What's happening? Bitcoin dominance is going up. I even drew a house. People keep asking me to draw houses again. We even drew a house for the Bitcoin dominance, okay? Now, this is the secret to the cryptoverse, right? It's just the Bitcoin valuation. You need to understand the Bitcoin valuation. It takes a lot of people a bear market to give the Bitcoin dominance any time of day, right? It takes them a full bear market. I'm telling you, look at it now. Don't make the same mistakes that people before you made. Look at the Bitcoin dominance. It's going up quick, fast, and in a hurry, okay? It's going up quickly. And the reason, as we've said, right? We've said many, many times, why is the Bitcoin dominance going up? Well, why do you think? Bitcoin put in a lower low, right? Remember, Bitcoin puts in a lower low, the market cycle structure completely breaks, right? And we said this was going to happen, right? We said that we will put in a lower low and that eventually we'll come down here, put in a lower low, and that the bulls that are holding on to the higher lows, those dreams will be gone, and the people that continue to DCA altcoins are likely going to keep getting wrecked. And I'll tell you this, and this is just the cold hard truth. I don't mean to say this, with any ill intent, okay? But this is just lessons learned the hard way. You can either accept it or not. You can heed the advice or not, okay? Just because an altcoin has dropped 85% does not mean it cannot drop another 85%. That can happen. Easily. Easily, that can happen, okay? In a bear market. In a Bitcoin bear market, altcoins can drop more than you could possibly imagine. That doesn't mean they're all going to drop at once. The bear market could drag on for a while. We could bounce for a while. I mean, we bounced over here in March. That led to some nice altcoin valuations back up to the upside. But I'm telling you, the alt Bitcoin valuations are likely heading down for a while. We've been putting out video after video talking about Ether Bitcoin's going down, alt Bitcoin valuations are going down, alt Ether valuations are going down, the Bitcoin dominance is going up, right? So I sincerely hope that you've been heeding the advice. Remember, if you get the urge to buy an altcoin, what do? Right? You take a cold shower and you reconsider, right? You reconsider. Now, look, I mean, I know a lot of people are encouraging you to buy the dip. But I'll tell you this, they've been saying buy the altcoin dip for months now, right? They've been saying it for months. And if you take that advice to heart, eventually you will not have any cash to actually buy the actual dip, right? The actual dip is something that you would like to be able to buy, not throwing all your money into altcoins during the actual Bitcoin bear market. I've said before, bull markets make you money, bear markets make you rich. Bear markets don't make you rich by throwing all your money into altcoins during a Bitcoin bear market, right? They make you rich because you let the altcoin valuations against Bitcoin bleed, right, for months and months and months. And then during the accumulation phase that follows the bear market, that's where you go into altcoins, right? That's where you go in, not during the Bitcoin bear market. You think about it. If you did this in 2018, you were just throwing money into a black hole for months and months and months, okay? You'll get a lot more bang for your buck if you're patient and you just recognize that all Bitcoin valuations are in a downtrend. And furthermore, I'm not even talking about their USD valuations, which are also likely going down. I'm talking about their Bitcoin valuations. So Bitcoin could go up, down, right, could even go left, back in time. And I would argue that no matter what it does, all Bitcoin valuations are going to bleed, okay? That's the argument. And if you continue throwing money into altcoins, I'm warning you now, do not expect them to outperform Bitcoin anytime soon. Not in a sustained manner. not in a sustained manner, right? Why? We're in a bear market. Okay, we've been in a bear market for a long time. You need to wise up. You need to recognize that we're in a bear market if you still are holding on to the hope that we're not. And furthermore, best case scenario, right? Let's think about the best case scenario for Bitcoin, okay? Theoretically speaking, the best case scenario for Bitcoin is that 25K is the bottom, okay? However, you need to also recognize, right, that if it is the bottom, the dominance is still likely going to go up on a rally back up, okay? You have to recognize that, right? By the way, if that happens, if we get a rally back up, don't be surprised to see Bitcoin lead the charge. And all Bitcoin valuations still go down, right? Still go down. Bear markets are brutal for altcoins. They are absolutely brutal. They are unforgiving, and they last longer than you want them to. Okay, I'm telling you, as someone who's experienced multiple Bitcoin bear markets, not as someone just trying to spread unnecessary FUD, as someone who's experienced multiple of these Bitcoin bear markets, I'm telling you that alts can go down a lot more than you think, a lot more, and that by buying altcoins right now, you are taking on a lot more risk for likely less reward than just holding Bitcoin. Okay, so just be honest with yourself. Before you buy an alt, you go look at its Bitcoin valuation. You look at Ether Bitcoin, it's in a downtrend. Maker Bitcoin, BNB Bitcoin. BNB Bitcoin's actually doing relatively well. But you know what's interesting about that? BNB Bitcoin also did well in 2018. I'm going to show you what I mean by this one. This is one of the outliers. BNB Bitcoin saw its top in June of 2018. Its local top, which for this bear market would correspond to May, right? It would correspond to May. So BNB Bitcoin is doing well, but I don't think it's going to last. I think it's eventually, it's going to go the same way that it did in 2018, do well for the first half and do really bad for the second half. So you be on the lookout for that. But look at Solana Bitcoin in a downtrend, AVAX Bitcoin in a downtrend, DOT Bitcoin in a downtrend. Even ADA ETH is in a downtrend. Link Bitcoin in a downtrend. Uni Bitcoin in a downtrend. Theta Bitcoin in a downtrend. ADA Bitcoin in a downtrend. Litecoin Bitcoin in a downtrend. Aave Bitcoin in a downtrend. The trend is there, right? All of these alts are in systematic downtrends against Bitcoin, and it's showing up with the Bitcoin dominance going higher. Bitcoin's been at the same price for the last 2 weeks, right? Look at this. Bitcoin's been at 29K, more or less, for the last 2 weeks, plus or minus a couple K, right? We've been at the same price. Despite the fact that the Bitcoin price has been the same, it has not changed, right? It has not changed at all. The Bitcoin dominance keeps going up. Why does the Bitcoin dominance keep going up? Why? Because the alts are bleeding against the US dollar. That's why. That's why Bitcoin dominance is going up, because alts are bleeding against the US dollar, because Bitcoin's going sideways after putting in a lower low. When that happens, alt confidence is just simply gone, right? And every time I put a tweet out saying altcoins are risky and that you should stay away from them, I get a lot of people saying, oh, so you're saying you shouldn't buy altcoins when they're cheap. As I said on Twitter, the truth is, if you joined crypto in 2021, you simply do not know what a cheap altcoin is. You haven't seen a cheap altcoin yet. You haven't, right? Ask the people in 2018 what a cheap altcoin is. They'll tell you, okay? You guys know I've held some altcoins, and I bought some altcoins in the last accumulation phase back in 2019. Look at ADA. ADA is a great example of an altcoin that was a horrible buy during the last bear market. Okay, so if you had bought ADA in say June of 2018 at 15 cents, it was already down from the all-time high. It was down 90%, 89%. That seemed like a good buy, right? Something's down 90%. Even though ADA was down 90% by June of 2018, it still dropped another 82% before it bottomed. Okay? So, yes, is it nice when altcoins are down 85% in terms of buying? Yeah, it can be. You know what's even better? When they go down another 85%. Then you're talking, right? Then you're really talking about good value on the altcoins. Until that time, I don't know, guys. I don't know what the fascination with altcoins is right now and why people keep buying the dip. But I mean, it's a bad habit that you have to break, I think. I mean, not financial advice. You do what you want to do. Sometimes experience is in fact the best teacher, but I'm warning you as someone who's experienced these markets time and time again. Alts are likely bleeding against Bitcoin for a while. And even after Bitcoin USD bottoms, take a look at this. Even after Bitcoin USD bottoms, alts are still likely going down against Bitcoin. Look, the bear market ended for ADA here in 2018, or for Bitcoin, the ADA USD valuation and Bitcoin USD bottomed in 2018. ADA Bitcoin didn't bottom until half a year after that, after Bitcoin went on a little parabolic rally in 2019. So what it means is that you have to think about your risk-adjusted returns. It's not about your return. It's about your risk-adjusted return. So you're probably sitting there thinking like, well, you know, altcoins are going to give me better returns than Bitcoin. Look, I'll tell you this right now. Bitcoin will likely hit a new all-time high before most altcoins do. And furthermore, Bitcoin will likely hit a new all-time high well before most altcoins do. Here's something that people forget. Okay, look at this. Bitcoin USD. When did Bitcoin hit a new all-time high? Look at this. December 17th of 2020. 3 years exactly, basically, after Bitcoin had its all-time high here. 3 years exactly, essentially, right? Where do you think Ethereum was? Okay, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high in mid-December of 2020. Bitcoin did. What did ETH do? Where was ETH December 17th of 2020? It was like $600. $600. Even though Bitcoin was at a new all-time high, right? So Bitcoin was at an all-time high. ETH was still trading for less than 50% of its all-time high. The Ether surge did not come until Q1, which is when Ether usually rallies, right? In Q1 against Bitcoin and against the US dollar. It happened in Q1. Not until then. Up until that point, Ether, Bitcoin, what was it doing? What do you think it was doing in late 2020? Late 2020. It was bleeding against Bitcoin. From that local high in the summer and in September, it bled 44%. Bitcoin was going without it. Bitcoin was leaving everything else behind for the most part, okay? So you had Ether, Bitcoin bleeding into the end of the year. Bitcoin hit an all-time high, and Ether was still at less than 50% of its USD all-time high. Less than 50%. Now, I'm an Ether bull. Don't get me wrong. But there's a time to be a bull on the Ether Bitcoin valuation, and there's time not to be. And now is not the time to be an Ether Bitcoin bull. Okay, it's just not. I mean, don't take it up with me. Take it up with the data if you have a problem with it. I'm just telling you right now, is not the time to be an Ether Bitcoin bull when you're looking at the breakdown of this. And we put out a video yesterday talking about how Ether Bitcoin was likely breaking down from this Wyckoff distribution pattern, and you can see it now. It's playing out, right? I mean, it's playing out. You're seeing it break down, and it's probably got a long way to go. So what would that mean for the next all-time high for Bitcoin? Let's just fast forward in our mind, okay? It's the next market cycle. Bitcoin hits an all-time high. It goes to $70,000. What would that equate to today? All right, let's think about that. If Bitcoin goes to 70K and Ether repeats 2018 or repeats late 2020 and it's less than halfway to its all-time high, that means Bitcoin could be at 70K and Ether could be at like $2,000. Think about that. Think about that. Bitcoin could hit a new all-time high and Ether could be at 2K. Now, if that happens, I would argue that a few weeks after that, Ethereum would likely rally and catch back up. But the point is that Bitcoin will likely hit an all-time high way before Ethereum. Now, the counterpoints that I'm sure everyone's in the chat is talking about, well, you have the merge coming up. I'll say it again, okay, for the 17th time. The merge is only going to introduce uncertainty in an already very uncertain environment. That's all it's going to do. Introduce uncertainty into an uncertain environment and in a risk-off macro scenario. That's what we're in right now. So while I understand you might have some optimism on the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation because of the upcoming merge, I would argue that it's actually likely going to have the reverse effect. And furthermore, if the merge gets delayed by a couple months, Ether's valuation against Bitcoin will likely keep bleeding as long as it keeps getting delayed. And even once it arrives, it could still bleed until we go back to being risk on. Okay, until the Fed pivots. So alts remain, as I've said, right? Alts remain incredibly risky, riskier than you probably think they are, right? I'm not going to sit here, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you to DCA altcoins during a Bitcoin bear market. And I know every time I say that, it'll lead to about 100 comments saying, oh, shouldn't you buy altcoins when they're cheap? As I said before, if you joined crypto in 2021, you don't know what a cheap altcoin is, okay? You just simply do not. I didn't know what it was in 2014. I thought I knew in 2018, and I was still surprised. And as I said before, fool me once, shame on Bitcoin. Fool me twice, shame on me. You're not going to fool me a third time, right? Alts are going down against Bitcoin more than likely for months to come, and to sit on altcoins over Bitcoin during Bitcoin maxi season, I don't really think makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so it's the cold hard truth, right? I'm gonna go where the data takes me, and that's where it takes me. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute. Bitcoin is currently at 29K. All right, it's currently at 29K. Well, 28,956. So let's think about this for a minute. Bitcoin USD at 29K. Now, the dollar is actually seeing a nice pullback. Okay, the dollar's seeing a nice pullback. The NASDAQ is holding its own a little bit, right? Look at this nice bounce. Look at this. It went up almost 3% today, Some Wall Street guys probably got out of bed today for that 3% move. So, what could happen with Bitcoin? Well, you should know, right? We've talked about this for a long time. What comes after the lower low? If history is an indication, what's going to happen? It's going to go back up. Probably not till next month, though, in a sustained way. I'm guessing next month, all right? You know what comes to that, though? Guess what? If Bitcoin rallies against the US dollar next month, okay, what's likely going to happen? Alts are still going to bleed against Bitcoin, right? They're still going to bleed. We can go back to the last cycle if you don't believe me. Look at what happened with Bitcoin. Once it put in the lower low, what happened? The lower low is in. We rallied back up to the 200-day moving average. But look at what happened. This was in July of 2018. This rally occurred in July of 2018. Arguably, we're 1 month ahead. So July of 2018 might correspond to June of 2022. Okay? So if Bitcoin gets this rally back to the 200-day moving average, what do you think Ether's going to do? What do you think it's going to do? Bitcoin rallied, and from the bottom, Bitcoin rallied 45% back in 2018 after the lower low was in. Okay, 45%. Now, diminishing returns will likely lead us to not believe that we're going to go back up 45%. If 25K is a local bottom, which again is a big if, a 45% move would get you all the way back to 37,000. So yeah, it's possible, right? It's certainly possible. Now consider this. What did ETH do? What did Ethereum do in July of 2018? What do you think it did? Bitcoin went up 45%. What do you think ETH did? July of 2018. Not a damn thing. ETH did not do a damn thing in July of 2018. Even though Bitcoin rallied 45%. Think about the pain. You think about the pain that would cause. I experienced that pain, right? I experienced it. I was too exposed to ETH back then. It didn't do a damn thing back then. So, what does that mean, right? What does it mean? Well, what do you think happened to the Bitcoin dominance in July of 2018? The Bitcoin dominance in July opened at 45%. It closed July at over 51%. Over 51%. So, what does that mean? It means that if Bitcoin rallies, it's likely to leave everything else behind. And if it gets rejected off the 200-day, like it did in 2018, what did it do in August? Bitcoin went down in August, back to the same price it came from. Okay? It dropped right back down. Did alts drop with it? No, they dropped harder than Bitcoin. Even though they didn't go up with Bitcoin, you rest assured they went down with it. And look at Ether Bitcoin. And let's go look at, well, first let's go look at the Bitcoin dominance in August. It still went up. So, what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway? It doesn't matter what Bitcoin does. Doesn't matter. Could go up, down, could go right, could go back in time to the left. Doesn't matter. Alts are in a systematic downtrend against Bitcoin. They are too risky. It's a risk-off environment. Crypto exposure is likely best limited to Bitcoin for the most part at this time. Not speculating on altcoins that were shilled to you on Reddit. I keep saying the same thing. And week after week, they keep going down against Bitcoin. So I'll tell you again, alts are likely going down against Bitcoin. It doesn't mean they can't bounce against the US dollar when Bitcoin bounces a little bit, right? I mean, if Bitcoin bounces, I mean, if you go back and look at what Ether did in 2018, I mean, okay, 1 week it went up 7 or 8%. So I'm sure if Ether goes up 8% next month on 1 week, everyone's going to be like, what you said. No, look, the trend stayed the same, okay? So do not mistake a short-term bounce for a shift in the macro trend. The Bitcoin dominance is likely heading higher. It's only just beginning to break out. You know, I mean, the house is drawn. What am I supposed to do? The house is there, okay? You can see the house. It's there. I can't touch it now. I hope we knock on the door in a few months, okay? So the dominance is likely going a lot higher, and it does not matter what Bitcoin does in terms of its USD valuation. Alts are likely going down against Bitcoin, okay? So those are the lessons to be learned. I learned them the hard way more than once. I'm trying to save you from the same pain that I've felt in prior bear markets. So you can take my advice for what you want. If it turns out I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But we've been saying it for the last 4 months, and here we are, right? Bitcoin dominance keeps going up. So I would argue Bitcoin dominance is likely going to go up a lot, and you are best served putting on your Bitcoin maxi hat for the next 6 months. That's the cold hard truth. You will sleep a lot better this summer by not being super heavy altcoins. I think that's my opinion, right? Non-financial advice, of course, but that's my opinion. You will sleep a lot better in the solace that Bitcoin would bring over the altcoin market. So that's basically where we are, right? That's basically where we are. It's tough for people to switch their mindset from Bitcoin being in a bull market where you buy the dip to Bitcoin being in a bear market where you don't. But that's where we are, so I would try to do away with the thinking, and if you want to buy altcoins, maybe take a cold shower and reconsider, okay? Now, what would cause a Bitcoin surge? We sort of touched on this. One would be the dollar, right? So if the dollar rally, or if the dollar keeps coming down like this, that'll likely lead to the NASDAQ doing well, which is already starting to do. It'll also likely lead to Bitcoin doing well. You know what will also lead to Bitcoin doing well? People converting their alts to Bitcoin. And I'll tell you, Bitcoin bear markets are where Bitcoin maxis are born, because they lose all their money on altcoins. The trick with altcoins is you just get really light alts during a Bitcoin bear market, and then you speculate on them during the next bull market, but you don't ride them all the way down 95% down or something ridiculous, right? You don't do that. You protect yourself with Bitcoin, because all Bitcoin valuations are likely going down whether Bitcoin is going down or not. Okay, so if 25K is the bottom, Bitcoin dominance is still going up. Bitcoin dominance went up in 2019 when Bitcoin was going on a parabolic rally, right? You go back and look at 2019, Bitcoin dominance went up during that parabolic rally, even though it was a Bitcoin bull market. Okay, so it doesn't matter, right? Bitcoin dominance is breaking back out, and it's moving up really quickly, very similar to what happened over here in 2018. We're just 1 month ahead of schedule. And yes, cash is king, right? And cash is king. Bitcoin, for crypto, Bitcoin, but cash is king during this time. All right, what do you guys got for me? Any questions before we sign off? Someone said they want another 100 Solana. Solana probably has a long way to go down, honestly. You go look at the like, I know there's some Solana bulls, but I'm telling you guys, and you go look at the Solana Ether valuation, it looks like a hot mess. This looks like a hot mess. This has a long way, I think, to go down. Solana Ether, and you go look at Solana Bitcoin, right? Look at Solana Bitcoin. Look, to me, it looks like it has a long way to go down. Look at it on a linear scale. Look at this on a linear scale and tell me that doesn't look like a bearish chart. Right? Look at it on a linear scale. This is a Solana Bitcoin valuation. Why hold Solana when you can just hold Bitcoin during a Bitcoin bear market when Solana is likely going to bleed against Bitcoin, right? So you see the chart. Same thing for ETH, same thing for Solana ETH. Look at it on a linear scale, and you tell me, this does not look like a bullish chart, right? I mean, this can bleed for a while, I think, before it starts to look good again. All right. Guys, when I ask if you guys have any questions, I don't mean do you have any altcoin questions, okay? I could say whatever your altcoin is, there's a more likely chance the answer is going to be the same, right? Bleeding against Bitcoin, bleeding against the US dollar is more than likely going to be the same. So we'll bounce at some point. I mean, alts will bounce at some point. They always do during a bear market, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the bear market. The trick is when we get to the end of the bear market, or we think we're at the end of the bear market, the trick will be actually getting back into alts, even though it only seems like they go down. That's the hard part, okay? But while I do think 25K could be a local bottom, I'm not convinced it's a market cycle bottom. Well, I think about Ray saying cash is trash. I mean, there's always a bull market somewhere, you know? I mean, you go look at energy funds. Energy funds are doing well. There's always a bull market somewhere, but I mean, during periods of high inflation and when the Fed is hawkish, I mean, cash holds up better. I mean, you're going to lose value to inflation, but it's better than losing 80% on an altcoin. So, how high do I think Bitcoin dominance will go? My guess is at least 60% eventually. But if we go to 60%, it'll likely take a while. But yeah, I think at least 60%. Let's see, what other questions? Some people say they don't see this stuff happening because the market's so different. Like I heard the same thing in 2018. The truth is a lot of the altcoins that people love, not all of them, right? I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, especially the micro caps, are just like copies of other micro caps that are probably all founded by the same developer team and are just chasing trends during a bull market, and during a bear market, they're just going to get wiped out. So, um, you know, to some degree, you could argue this time is different, but to another degree, you could argue it's the exact same thing. Innovation is fuel. Bear markets fuel innovation. That innovation leads us to another bull market. That bull market leads us to people chasing trends and saturating the market with garbage, and then that leads us to a bear market. And then again, the bear market will lead us back to innovation time. So now's the time to innovate and come up with things that'll ultimately take us to another bull market. Not to look at all these various altcoins that are down 85% and say that this time is different when they could easily go down a lot further. I mean, usually the things play out in the more or less the same way. Why did I say B&B was different? No, I'm not saying it's different. I'm just saying that it held up a little bit better than most altcoins during the 2018 bear market, but it had a local top in July, which would correspond to 2022's June. So B&B Bitcoin's doing okay right now, but I would kind of expect it to top out within a month or so. Thoughts on the Luna fork? Guys, I mean, I don't know where they think the liquidity is going to come from to prop up valuations. I mean, I feel like trust is gone. How do you have a stable coin, drop that much and expect people to trust it again? That's all I'll say. I don't want to get into too much on it. because I've never even made videos on Terra, but I don't think you're gonna. I don't think it's. I think it's just gonna go away. Like I think it's just gonna slowly go down the ranks. And also, I don't talk about microcaps on the channel, so I really shouldn't be talking about Luna anyways. What is whale number 3 doing? I don't know. Let's see. They are DCAing, okay? Right? And I'm telling you now, right? I'm telling you now, Bitcoin will likely bounce at some point within the next few weeks. I'm thinking maybe June, and see a nice move back up to the upside. But I would speculate alts will still bleed against Bitcoin. Okay. If you go look at whale number 3, you can see that it looks like they had an inflow of 481 Bitcoin today at 29.4K. They had 77 Bitcoin inflow 2 days ago at 29.6. I'm telling you, Bitcoin is different right now. It'll hold its value better than everything else. And rest assured, if Bitcoin goes down against the U.S. dollar, the altcoin market's going to get wrecked worse, more than likely. So, Bitcoin will hold its value better than a lot of these altcoins. All right. By the way, guys, make sure you subscribe. If you're not subscribed, give the video a thumbs up. We got like 3,700 people watching and only 748 likes. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you have not done so yet. And also remember, if you guys want to join the Into the Cryptoverse Premium, you just go to intothecryptoverse.com. Got a lot of charts over there. We talk strategy, and I tell people what I'm doing a lot of times. So check it out, intothecryptoverse.com. All right. Yeah, Ether's at 1740. It's in danger here of putting in a lower low against its USD pair. Against this Bitcoin pair, I mean, it already looks wrecked, right? It's already playing out that Wyckoff distribution that we talked about. I mean, Ether Bitcoin might be going sub 0.06 here in a little bit. I mean, I think it's going to go much lower than that, much lower than 0.06, but I mean, it's almost there now. Bitcoin dominance is likely heading to 47% relatively quickly as well. Thoughts on refitting the log curves? Yeah, we'll probably refit the peak. Yeah, we will. Accumulation phase of a lifetime video next year? Yeah, probably. Yeah, if you want the accumulation phase of a lifetime videos, you'll have to wait. No, we're not there yet. You'll have to wait. Any advice for those currently holding alts? I mean, I think Bitcoin's going to outperform them, so you do what you want with that. What do I think is going to happen to NFTs? I mean, I don't think NFTs are going to do well when Bitcoin is in, a macro bear market. All right. What happens when the SEC decides alts to securities? I mean, look, I think we're going through the regulation FUD now, right? And it's not. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's actual legitimate concerns. Okay, that's why I'm saying like altcoins are extremely risky right now because we have to get through these regulatory hurdles for a while. Okay, and if that's the case, then I don't know that you want to ride that into battle, go up against the SEC with all these altcoins. So I think it's just easier to focus on Bitcoin and cash. So the problem with all the comments on the fundamentals of various crypto, various altcoins, no one cares about that in a bear market. No one cares about the fundamentals. Um, so you can bring the fundamental discussions, but no one cares about hard forks and that stuff when Bitcoin's in a bear market. So it's just the truth, right? I mean, I don't mean to just be a downer, but I mean it's just simply the truth. No one cares. Why is Bitcoin not following the Nasdaq? Um, Maybe give it a week or something. I don't know. I mean, they don't always follow each other on a daily basis. What should you do if you're exposed to ETH and Solana? Well, Solana's likely bleeding. Look, Solana's likely bleeding against Ether. Ether's likely bleeding against Bitcoin. So, I mean, I can tell you what I think's going to happen. It's up to you to take action on what you want your portfolio to look like. It is funny though, because every time I post this stuff on Twitter, everyone's like, "Oh, you should buy cheap altcoins for the last 4 months." But I'm like, if you buy them every week, you're going to run out of cash to buy them. This happened to me in prior bear markets. So sometimes the best thing to do is just be patient and let the market work itself out for a while. I've learned all these I've made these mistakes the hard way. I tell you from as someone who's unfortunately had to endure this many times in the past. Yeah, I think Solana I think has a long way to fall against Bitcoin and ETH. So I think the argument is if you're going to hold, if you have Solana, it'll likely underperform ETH. So it'd be better to hold ETH. But ETH is likely going to underperform Bitcoin. So it would just be better to hold Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin could underperform the US dollar. So then you have to argue, but then you don't know when the bear market ends. So, right? What does it lead you to? It leads you to Bitcoin and cash. Ryan says he's thankful that he's helping him hold on to the capital. That's the key thing. Don't thank me. Think yourself. I'm just telling you what I think's going to happen. I've been wrong about things. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I haven't been. But I am telling you, as someone who's lived through multiple Bitcoin bear markets, the best thing you can do is come up with strategies to preserve your capital, right? You want to focus on preserving it. What do you think is going to give you strength during an accumulation phase? Okay? What do you think gives you strength? Is it the cash you saved, or is it the altcoins you watch bleed 95%? I think we'll leave that one there. Okay, you make the decision. I'm not saying alts won't go up in against the US dollar on various weeks. They probably will. You'll probably see weeks where they rally 20, 30, 40% or something. It doesn't mean the bear market's over. Okay, so you be careful with altcoins. And I would say just be patient for a while and let the Bitcoin dominance move higher through the coming months. Yeah, thoughts on the DXY. Like I said, I mean, it is showing some weakness. So I'm kind of expecting maybe Bitcoin to see some type of a bounce next month in June. Um, and my guess is that it would temporarily stop the altcoin bleeding against the U.S. dollar, but still alts would bleed against Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, like I think the dollar pulling back leaves a bit of room for Bitcoin to recover some, and likely Bitcoin will also recover, not just because the dollar's doing bad, but because people are converting some of their alts into Bitcoin, thus further increasing the demand for Bitcoin as people leave the altcoin market. Mark says, Ben, I know this is all about crypto, but why are people so focused on it like it's 100% of their investment? Um, I mean, it's a good perspective, right? I mean, there's no reason to have your portfolio be 100% crypto. You should diversify. There's other ways you can lose money too, like in equities right now. So you don't have to just lose money in crypto. You can also lose it in equities. But kidding aside, I mean, some diversification I think is good. Whether it be equities, commodities like precious metals, there's real estate. Though I have some concerns with the real estate market right now. I'm not a real estate expert. I don't claim to be, but we are seeing some slowdowns on things like new construction and some demand in some areas, not all areas. So I am getting a little bit concerned with the real estate market. I think the main thing right now that's sort of holding it up is there's not a lot of supply because interest rates are so high, so people don't want to sell. And if people don't want to sell, then there's just not a lot of supply on the market. So even though there might be low demand, there's also low supply. But if we go into a recession, which I think we're already in, if we sort of stay in a recession for a while, then we might get to the point where people can no longer afford their houses and they're forced to sell because maybe they get laid off or something. And if they're forced to sell and then demand is still stays low, then you could see the housing market pull back. So yeah. Someone says, why would I sell my Solana for Bitcoin if I'm already down 80%? Because it can go down another 80%, right? That's why. I'm not saying it has to, but it can. All right, guys. Why don't we wrap it up? Why don't we wrap it up? Let's see if Bitcoin. I'm sort of hoping that Bitcoin can hold on to 29K plus or minus a K or two, and then maybe we'll see some relief next month. But I still wouldn't get too optimistic about the Bitcoin valuations next month. I would still be remain pessimistic about those. If Bitcoin does bounce next month, you should expect some altcoin relief in terms of the US dollar, but I would not expect much sustained relief with regards to alt Bitcoin pairs. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. We also have the Telegram channel as well, and we also have the intothecryptoverse.com if you want to check out Into the Cryptoverse Premium. I'll post a link to our public Telegram channel if you guys want to join. You guys can continue the conversation in there. We have almost 50,000 people, so why don't you join and say hi to 50,000 of your closest friends? I'll just post the Telegram channel in the chat. So continue the party over there. You can talk about as long as things are not micro caps, you can talk about them. And I'll see you guys over there. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you next time. Bye.